a new era which simultaneously is a very old era. It is a reawakening towards a very sacred path. And not a total reawakening, because some of us never ceased to be what we are supposed to be. We are constitutionally Tridanti Bhikkhu. Tridanti Bhikkhu means a traveling mendicant. That's what it is. A sannyasi and a brahmachari, they are traveling mendicants. And today the class topic is transcendental mendicancy, which is a very sum and substance. It is the essence of our movement, and it is also the essence of my own life, because by the grace of Srila Bhaktivedanta Kshita Maharaj, I was initiated in the sacred order Tridanti Bhikkhu, that is a traveling mendicant sannyasi, and therefore I've spent my life running around the world begging people following things. What do I beg people? I beg them, please chant Hare Krishna. I beg them, please read the scriptures of my Guru Devas and sacred liturgy. I beg them, please donate to our temple, to our book fund, to our farm, to whatever project is going on. I'm begging people to donate to it. I beg doctors to heal the devotees and become conscious doctors, so that they will be benefited of being involved in spiritual life with their particular skill. I beg artists, painters, sculptors, or whoever they are, to contribute their artistic skills to the different ideas of Krishna consciousness. I beg people to come and listen to the message coming through me and through those who are faithful to Krishna. I beg people to listen. I beg people to join our family. I beg people to become children and grandchildren of Srila Prabhupada and thus stay in touch with us heart to heart, because I'm not interested in any other relationship except the heart-to-heart relationship. So if I want somebody to join our family, well, what do I do for that? I'll do anything. If you want me to stand on my head, then I will try to stand on my head. I won't do a good job in that regard, but at least if you want me to bow down and offer my dandavats to you so you become a Vaishnava, I can offer 5 billion dandavats every day. I'll be offering one dandavats after the other if that would make somebody a devotee. I wouldn't have no trouble with this, you know. In my position as a beggar, begging you to join our wonderful Vaishnava family, there's really nothing I would not do. But of course I don't know much, so I'm simply begging. I'm humbly begging you. So then the next thing, we are begging people to follow the principles. I'm begging people to become vegetarians. I have no problem with begging either, because if somebody is going to stop eating meat because I'm begging, if somebody says, I'll become a vegetarian if you give me a foot massage, I'll be massaging feet all day. Come on, let me massage your feet. And you're never going to eat an animal again? Come on, I'll be your eternal foot massages. I mean, I'm given a bit of an exaggeration for you to understand what a beggar is ready to do. A beggar has a purpose, he has a motivation of begging. And I'm a motivated beggar, because when I see the people becoming devotees or stopping to eat meat, I feel great joy, and I feel something tangible has been accomplished. So that was it, that was worth it. So I also beg people to stop smoking. I also beg people not to take drugs. I beg people to be faithful to their wife and take care of their children or to stay celibate. I beg people not to gamble, because gambling is going to do bad to their family. So you can see I'm a beggar from morning to evening. And today I'm also a beggar in front of you. I'm a beggar in front of you to launch intensified spirit into the Vrinda mission of wanting to beg for the cause of Krishna. It is for our own purification. Number one, this is here I put what you gain by becoming a beggar. Then is how to beg. What is the procedure? Who are the most prominent beggars? What is the Vaishnava procedure of begging? And like the many things, today our morning class is a whole meditation on transcendental begging and the ingredients, the paraphernalia you need for begging. This is options and paraphernalia. One paraphernalia can be websites. You can beg on a website. Of course, Sankirtan is the most traditional begging process because you go personally, very humbly, requesting another person. Like I'm requesting all of you now humbly, give your time. What do we beg? We beg your time. That we always beg for. Please give us some of your time. So that's similar. We beg you to volunteer in the efforts for the welfare of the world. We beg you to be pure or to try to purify yourselves. In other words, my mentality of begging, begging means I can ask you, but you're not obliged to give me. You can only give to me if you feel so much touched in your heart by my begging that you change your mind. You say, I wasn't going to do that, but he asked me so nice, so sweet, so irresistible, then I'll do it. Srila Prabhupada, in this reconnection, he gave an example when Tripurari Maharaj was asking him what was the best mantra for begging people to take up Krishna consciousness. He answered the following. He said, my dear sir, you're so intelligent. You're such a wonderful, wonderful person. I have one humble request to you. What is it, my friend, you're asking so nicely? Well, I ask you to forget everything you have learned until now and find out who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and what he came to give. That is my humble request I have for you. That was textually the answer of Prabhupada to Tripurari Maharaj about the best technique of Sankirtan. How to convince people to participate. So you see that is a line of begging. No? So we are beggars, and we are very joyful about it. Actually, now the beggar, he can be turned down, as I pointed out, because otherwise it would be not a beggar. If I'm putting a pistol to you, you have to give this to me, or I threaten you, or I blackmail you, or I pay you. If I pay you, I'm not a beggar. Then it is becoming a business transaction. Okay, how much do I have to give? But if I beg you to buy a book of mine, give me a donation, I give you a book, this begging, that's very, very special, very beautiful. It is a very wonderful transaction, and it is wonderful because it is voluntary. It is the heart of begging is a voluntary heart-to-heart relationship right there while you beg. Heart-to-heart relationship. Something very difficult to find in this world. But when you are a beggar of divine love, now, what do we beg from people? Now, are we also begging before Guru and Krishna? Yes, we are begging for divine love. Madhukari. We are begging for divine love, not to offend anybody with our offensive mentality, for having realizations. We don't beg for money or health, because such things, they are in the hand of Krishna anyway. So if you're begging Krishna for health and then you catch a cold, then you say, oh, Krishna didn't give me what I wanted. That's not a nice relationship with Krishna. We are not looking. So, I mean, I have prayed on behalf of other people. I've begged Krishna on behalf of certain people. And sometimes it's almost like a karma kanda tradition. People come to the sadhu, says, can you please pray for me? Can you please bless me? Can you intervene? Can you put in a good word for me? In South America, that's very common. They come to hold their hands and say, can you please touch my head? Then some blessing energy will come to me through you. So this is there, this element, this karma kanda. But karma kanda is contaminated by business. Karma kanda, it is not the highest platform. It is business mentality. So I mean, I've seen devotees, you know, like one woman come to me, says, please, 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 I want to get married to this and this person. I said, well, I don't know, you know, I've heard that the girls in the time of Lord Chaitanya, they pray to Lord Shiva. And then the Lord say, don't pray to Lord Shiva, you pray to me. And if you not pray to me, then you will get only an old husband who's very sick and things like that, you know. And Mahaprabhu said to the girls, no? So, I mean, if you pray to Krishna, if you beg Krishna for some blessings, it's between you and Krishna. What do you ask him? What is the relationship you want to have with God? Huh? Or we can, for example, we can beg to go home. To go home. We can beg for to go home, back to Godhead, to never forget Him, to understand. We can beg for a spiritual master, we can beg for sadhu sangha. You see, what I'm trying to explain to you today is that the entire mentality of the Vaishnava life is a begging life. I begged this morning to Rasa Moy, I begged to Krishna Kirtan, I begged to Gita Manjari to make a nice song for Krishna, I begged to Hari Bhakta to make some beautiful project along the way of his new adventures in Mexico or wherever Krishna will take him. I beg Shankar to please stay in the reception and make some wonderful, very strong Berlin temple from there. I beg Acharya, could you go to Kajuli and take over that project there? I begged Maharaj, Swami Maharaj, to go to Mexico. Like this, I'm always begging, and I don't mind it. As a matter of fact, I enjoy it, because then I have a heart-to-heart relationship with people when I beg them. And if they cannot do it, or they don't want to do it, well, fine, then they cannot do it. What can be done? Rohini Haribol. So begging people is like, I just begged Julan Yatra to write a book for me, which I've been trying to do for 15 years, and I couldn't do it yet, because I had no time, and so I think he's a very good writer. He actually studied German language. Poor guy, no? But now we try to make good use of those studies, no? So this is my life, just going around and begging people. I beg Radhanath every year to make a beautiful Radharani's garden, to have beautiful flowers for the deities. I don't really have to beg him, he does it anyway. But you see, but I don't mind to beg. I beg Lalita Madhava to keep tolerating the Harikatha ashram and trying to somehow or other, let's get things going, because it's too valuable not to, even so, though she asked me sometimes, I don't know how long I'm going to do that, the people are not helping very much, they're not appreciating what we are doing. I think I'm tired of it. By the way, tired, yesterday I wanted looking for you because Gaudi offered to help something, was making lists of archives of classes to do some things, help for Harikatha Ashram, some plans, so we have to sit together and discuss that. She came specially for that, asking me, she wanted to do something in this regard. So, like I'm always begging Ananta Shanti to do something. No, Ananta Shanti, I need your help, please come here. And if I would not do that, no, I'm always begging Lalita to start with our yoga therapy program in Vindakunja and make it a real great place. So begging is, for me, is a very natural thing. No, I really don't mind it. I rejoice it, because then I look at somebody and I say, do you want to do something for Prabhupada? Do you want to help me, man? Help me? I say, I don't care. Not for me. Anything like that. Well, then I'm very sad and wish them well anyway. Because it's not because you beg somebody and they don't do what you say, then you go, no? Then you're not a beggar, then you're a rude fellow. We can only do this, and this is really the sum and substance. Now, how did this all start? How did it come about? Well, Goloka, please come in. It started with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sending Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur to go out and preach. Goloka, you made a new exhibition there, no? What's the title? What is there? We haven't gotten any type of explanation in this regard. Is there going to be a vernissage, an opening?
Not so official.
It's not so official?
No.
Well then, if it's not so official, just explain now. What is it all about?
Nein, es ist da habe ich nur deinen Besuch genutzt, dachte ich, wir müssen mal ein bisschen an die Harmonieschule erinnern. Mehr war nicht.
Is there any specific subject of the picture, something which connects them?
Nein, das sind die Arbeiten des letzten Jahres ein bisschen.
Okay, no special title of the exhibition. Okay. Anyhow, you can see new pictures. Goloka hung there some beautiful things. So, and that takes me to another thing. I always beg people to publish a book, to do this. I really, and it's not that always people do things just because I'm begging them. No, 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 no. Begging is a question. You have to become very, very tolerant. And you have to become very patient. Patience, how you write that? P-A-T?
Yeah,
Just like a patient? What's patience?
Patience. N-C-E.
But yeah.
C-E am Ende.
Without the T?
Yeah.
Paciente. Gracias.
Paciente.
Huh?
C-E.
Patience.
Yeah.
But patience.
You have to get patience, yeah.
No.
But how you say? To be patient, then it's with the T.
Yes.
So it was right.
Yes.
Of course.
And the patient is with T?
Yes.
Patient is with the T in the end?
Yes.
Okay, so patient or patient. Okay, got it. So you have to get a lot of patience, because like sometimes you beg and beg and beg and beg and nothing is happening. Prabhupada, he was trying to come to the West and preach, but it took him until he was 69 until he finally could fulfill that request, which Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur had begged from him. Now that's historical begging. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur told Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, you are an English-speaking person, go and speak this message to the the message of Mahaprabhu to the Western world. And what Prabhupada said? He argued. He said, who will listen to a dependent people? Because at that time the Britishers were ruling India. So Prabhupada's argument, who will listen to us if we are just not even a country of free people? And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur answered, if there's a fire, there's no need of clothes. That's the answer. So if you're a beggar, if there's an emergency, then I don't have to be dressed in any particular way. I say, Akshara, fire! He's going to say, no, but you don't even have your dress put on. No. Forget about it. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati just wiped away Prabhupada's argument, and Prabhupada was a young student, and he hung his head down, and later he said to his friend, I have really met a real sadhu. From that point, it still took 11 years before Prabhupada took initiation. But at that moment he accepted defeat from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur begged him to participate in the mission of Lord Chaitanya. And he did that later when he got initiated, but he actually fulfilled what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati begged him only at the age of 69 years. Can you imagine, Rasamoi? There's a lot of time left still, so no reason. Everything comes in time, you know. Just have to be patient, tolerant, humble, compassionate, and get wisdom. What do you gain from begging? You gain the understanding that you are not the owner, because I cannot beg for myself. That you are not the enjoyer, because I should not beg you to supply me enjoyment. At least when I beg on behalf of my Lord. And I'm not the controller, because I don't know if I'm going to get anything or not, if it's going to work or not. I have not the slightest idea. So begging is in that sense. Now, there's prices to pay. For example, in connection to begging donations, there has to be transparency. You cannot go around and beg on behalf of Krishna, and then there's no transparency, right? Another thing for begging, you have to give an example. If you don't give an example of what you beg, doesn't make much sense, no? These are the prices to pay, or let's call them technical details. So, transparency example. When you want people to listen, then you must speak. How can some people listen if you're not speaking? So that means giving class. I always tell the devotees, give class. Don't say, I'm a young devotee, I don't do, I cannot, I'm too shy. No. If you want people to listen, you have to speak. If you want them to join your family, you have to supply shelter. Supply shelter. You can join this ashram, you can join. If there is no shelter, then how can you say somebody surrender, I beg? No, that's another one. Join the family. Or another thing is principle. We beg you to surrender. Then if you want them to read, have books. If you don't have any books in your bag, how do you want them to read, Baba? What a foolish thing is this? We have India, Bhakta, eine indische Odyssee, one of my favorite books of Walter Eidlis. We just got it from India. We have to distribute them in heaps and bounds. Everybody has to have them with them. You have a Bhakta, eine indische Odyssee in your bag for selling? You carry them?
Me?
Yeah? Chopping block, no Sankirtan consciousness. You're the leader of here. This is the point here. This is what you are begging. If you don't have a book, how can you beg them to read a book? If you're not in that awareness. It's very serious. You know how much we suffer to get all these books into our hands. How many hours, nights, correction, crying, organizing to get these books. So anybody who doesn't have books in his bags, he's not begging anybody to read. It's a bogus. So if you want people to chant, then you have to do Sankirtan or Sankirtan or like Naga Sankirtan. If you say, please chant, then they say, yes, when, where? Oh, I'm not chanting, we have no Harinam, we have no Kirtan. Nonsense. So now this is our new program. We are going to beg and we have to do these things. In other words, begging is not such a cheap thing, no? It just sounds like, oh, I just go and beg a little bit. No. Now, if we beg people to follow the principles, then we have to convince them. Otherwise, why should they follow the principle if they just think they're going to lose something? If you want them to volunteer, you have to provide service. This is the most difficult. Every temple president knows. Everybody. And the same, if we want people to give your time, then you have to provide ideas how they can give their time. And if you want them to surrender, you have to give them your love. Why should they surrender if there's no love? Do you agree on this? Any objections to these? Do you all agree that to beg these wonderful things we have to have these ingredients? Does it make sense? If it makes sense, should we do it in reality, or should we walk out here of the room and says, let's our life go on as usual? Means our trodden paths of our different situations. So I'm actually here begging you once again to launch a new spirit into the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That we will become very humble beggars following in the footsteps of Nityananda Prabhu, Haridas Thakur and Srila Prabhupada. This is very important. All of these things which are said on this whiteboard, they are the key issues of understanding the appropriate relationship with God and with others. Because I beg on behalf on behalf how you say behalf? Wie?
B-E-H-A-L-F.
F.
Ja, logisch.
Dankeschön.
Bitteschön.
On behalf of... On behalf of who? In represent. I beg on behalf of Prabhupada because I don't know anybody else.
I beg on behalf of you.
Let's keep to the reality. Now here the word Madhukari I put in the top. Madhukari is a tradition where a devotee, he don't cook for himself. He's going from door to door and chanting and speaking about Krishna, and at the time of lunch, whatever chapati or little vegetable is given to him, that is the food he's going to take. So this is a wonderful essence that we are begging on behalf of Guru and Krishna, Thakurji, and Thakurji, because the deity is the one in charge. Like here in Berlin, we beg on behalf of Radha Berlin Ishvara. So it's very much you begging on behalf of your Guru and Thakurji. That is the criteria of begging. You see, not begging means that you have a relationship which is calculated, which is like the famous relationship between the employer and the employed, which usually goes like this. The employer, he wants to get the most out of you and pay you the least possible. And you want to get the most out of the employer if you're employed, and you want to do the least for him in return. This is a pretty nasty relationship, right? In one way or another, the employers and the employed, they have always some kind of a hateful relationship. I mean, not absolutely. There was one movie long time ago, if you can remember, Metropolis from Fritz Lang. That was a classical movie. It was at the time when the movies were silent movies. There was no sound yet, no? Fritz Lang. And that was about the relationship of the employers and the employed. So, in the end, no, it was really... Did you see it, Halada? No?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
It's an amazing thing, you know, and how it finally says, oh, the employers and the employed, they have to make peace with each other, no? That was the final outcome of the movie. But actually, we make our peace by becoming humble beggars. No? Now, for example, I beg you to work hard. That's a difficult one. People do a little bit, but to beg people to work hard, that's not an easy job. But if people don't work hard, that means they don't believe in what they're doing. So, and in order to do that, of course, I have to give the example, and I have to reach their heart. Only if I reach a person's heart, I can get him to work hard. It's a very important point, because many people say, oh yes, okay, what shall I do? Okay, chant Hare Krishna, okay, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. But it's no spirit. There's no, oh my Lord, please let me be an instrument of your heart, of your love. No, that spirit is not there. But that is a spirit. So in that sense, Mahamantra is begging. So we are begging to be an instrument of his love. So now we come down to the reality. Our daily chanting is nothing but a begging process. So we are taking our finger in the japa and we go, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Oh my Lord, please let me be an instrument of your love. Oh my Lord, please let me be an instrument of your love. You see? So that's what we begging from Krishna, that is what we beg from others, and this is what we should do in order to accomplish that. You follow? Now, you want, here we forgot one thing. Oh my God, we beg you to eat prasadam. I forgot that. Eat prasadam. And what is the condition to do it? Good cooking. Love goes through the stomach. So, if there's no good cooking, how are you going to get people to eat prasadam? No? And if you want to, we beg people to offer their food also. Boy, there's no more space. Let's see. We beg people please offer your food. And we also do another thing. Please rise for sadhana. So what do you do that? You have to provide a place of worship. That's why we make temples. And provide, give guidance how to offer and why to offer. So, for example, if there's a conscious doctor, potentially, then we beg him, please be so kind and treat the devotees for free or at just a minimal fee, because our devotees have no health insurance. But some do, but some don't. So if you don't have a health insurance, you need conscious doctors, because they have to treat the patients when they need some help of a physician. So now we come to a different subject. This is basically sannyasi, brahmacharis and Vishnu priyas. They are begging on behalf of Thakurji of the temple. Now how do you do this with the grihastha beggars? How do you combine that? That is actually a conflict area. Because some devotees, like, they become grihasthas and they are not so sure how they should behave now, how they should go about all this. So, because of that, sometimes they don't so actively participate. So the number one thing you have to understand, that a grihasta, he is 100% maintained by his beloved Lord. Like everybody else, but as a grihasta, children, women, you have to be completely aware, we would not be married without Krishna, we could not survive without Krishna, we cannot be successful without Krishna. We have to maintain Krishna conscious despite our new ashram situation. So, therefore, why I put this here, grihasta beggars. Now, can a grihasta also beg? The answer is not only a brahmachari and a sannyasi can beg. A Brahmin can also beg. This is a special element of our philosophy. A Brahmin is entitled to receive donations. This is Brahmins, because why is a Brahmin entitled to receive donation? Because he does dana, tapa, yagya, no? Because a Brahmin is engaged in dana, tapa and yagya, he can also receive donations, but it is on behalf of Guru and Krishna. In other words, he has to be very transparent in this process, but even in some occasions I have asked grihastas to do fundraising for the temple and to get a commission for their needs as grihastas. This is a very genuine process which is called fundraising. When you do fundraising only on behalf of yourself, then it is not so clear and transparent. But if you do fundraising, for example, some grihastas, they sell books and maintain their family by doing so. That even has been criticized by some people, but if instead of that they are selling paper pins or something like that or anything else, they're actually not providing this wonderful chance of meeting a beggar, a transcendental beggar. Whoever is a transcendental beggar, he is somewhat committed with all this list. You see, a transcendental beggar is, to meet a transcendental beggar means to meet a sadhu. And the sadhu, very merciful, provides his association to others by surrendering to his guru and by going out and preaching on behalf of Sri Krishna. So therefore, it is very important that even grihastas do that, because we don't want everybody to have a job. As a matter of fact, a Brahmin should not have a job under a non-Brahmin unless there's an absolute emergency, because as soon as you have a job, your ideals get corrupted, your time is, it's not nice. Sometimes there's Brahmins, because they have a job, they can never speak the truth. Then what's the use of being a Brahmin then, you know? That's a very unhappy situation. So therefore, let us be very thankful to Srila Prabhupada to introduce to us this begging system, which includes permission of book distribution, fundraising, working with commission. This working with commission, this is something, you know, it's out of the daily life. Now, for example, I have a boutique in my temple in Bogota, and I don't have any brahmachari or brahmacharini who is going to run it. But there's one grihasta who is out there selling peanuts or something to maintain his family. I say, how much you make? I'll give you one example. One of my very best musicians of the Vrinda family, his name is Dhruvanath. Dhruvanath is the founder of the music group called Shakti. Whoever knows him, his music, it's quite spectacular. He's very, very talented musician. His son Gokulito is another just top musician. And he was working in La Paz, and he was working very hard because it was very difficult to get money as a musician sometimes. And also he was going into the bars at night to play music to maintain his 4 children he had. So I said, Dhruvanath, how much money are you making there? He said, well, I go out almost every night, I work so hard, and I make $150. I say, what? You make $150 only? Okay, let's cut a deal. You go to Ekotuli Park and you become the musical teacher, volunteer program director, and from the Ekotuli Park, where we have a certain steady income, I will pay you the 150 euros, and you don't have to go into any bars. You can spend more time with the deities, with the devotees, etc., etc. So in this case, now, am I paying him 150? No, I'm not paying him 150. I'm just giving him a small maintenance so that he don't have to waste his time somewhere else, and he can do so much good, because if you listen his music, his everything is just wonderful, and the whole family, all him, they have enjoyed so much going to Ekotuli Park. So much, it has become so wonderful. So in other words, with the grihastas, with the guru, they have to figure out a way how they can be beggars. In other words, a grihasta cannot really be a beggar unless he has the begging and the authorization of his guru. And if he is a Brahmin, just say any Brahmin, if he doesn't use what he gets donated for dana, then he becomes corrupt. And we should not corrupt. Corrupting ourselves, that's not a very smart thing to do, right? So we want to do the right thing, the right moment. We want to be so, but definitely we can. Now, it's again, the guru begs the brahmacharis to do. The guru also begs the grihastas to participate. Now, the guru begs the grihastas to beg others, and from that, what they obtain by begging, they may get a commission, they may, like a fundraising commission or anything. That, if it's authorized by Krishna, is no difficulty. Paramatma is the example. He has also a child. He also has to pay maintenance, and he's a preacher. He likes, so he goes out with prasadam, with so many things, and he uses the money for Krishna and gives something to his family for his maintenance. Right? And he's doing that for how many years now?
Many years.
How many? 8?
Yeah, more than
8 years he's doing that. And I'm so thankful. I'm telling him, Paramatma, come to our temple and inspire the others, give the example, give classes, because he's actually a Brahmin. He's a perfect example of a Brahmin who is doing that on behalf of the Guru and Krishna. And so this is what I'm talking. We're talking about very practical things. And some things, you may not have a job, but you can always have a job praying, begging people to participate. Now, hopefully, we are begging on behalf of Guru and Krishna, not just because we have no food in the belly. hopefully there is some motivation, some higher motivation, like spiritual desire of service that you. Now here's another one. We beg people to accept that you are a servant. A servant of God. So you see the whole process. Now we make a few changes. One thing we decided, when the people come to our vegetarian club, from now on, we are going to give them the meal, and then we're going to ask them, please give what you think is the value of this meal so we can maintain our temple. This was one decision we made yesterday, of changing something, also begging people to be conscious and to help us. In other words, whoever gives a donation to a temple or to Krishna or to sannyasi, that's the best thing you can do with the money. The best thing. Sometimes it's a donation, sometimes even more than a donation. Sometimes it becomes your life. Krishna Kirtan gave me a $500 donation yesterday for the situation in Vrindavan of dredging the Yamuna back. So, also besides that, you remember I'm asking all to help with the Vrindavan projects. You can also go there and dredge yourself. You can go, but it's like, when we do something like that, we accept responsibility. So this is what we are begging. We are begging people to accept responsibility. Okay, here we are still missing some. Okay, provide a place for worship, begging people to accept, to be a servant of God. That means we have to provide that understanding. It means we beg, please. Is the continuum of a sense. To accept responsibility, we have to provide people with also to provide that understanding and to provide that training. Provide training. Like in our temples, we always want people to become responsible, and we are trying to provide them this training. In other words, this begging process is like it's a daily thing. It permeates deep into our daily relationships even. No? I say to a devotee, can you please serve the prasadam to the visitors? I'm begging you to do that. There was one letter Srila Prabhupada wrote. Oh, one devotee wrote a letter to Prabhupada, said, Prabhupada, can I worship Ganesh? And then Prabhupada answered in a very jolly mood. He said, if you can supply $100,000 monthly to our book fund, then I can authorize you to worship Ganesh. And he said, besides that, whatever money we get, 50% at least, we should make sure it is used for service in the preaching. He said, but then he made a very important things. Of course, I'm giving you these guidance and suggestion. I am not forcing anybody. But this is what I understand is the right thing. So the sannyasis or the preachers, when they give instructions to people, they're begging them, they're proposing to them, they're requesting them They're not imposing. So in our spirit, in our spirit of success, of spreading Lord Chaitanya's mission, we should be very, very keen. And this Madhukari mentality, that you will only take what you get by donation, this is a very nice, humble way. For example, the sannyasis, if they don't get any invitation on their Madhukari tour, then they will fast that day. Say, oh, Krishna will surely provide another day. So in this way, it is a very extreme. Madhukari is a state of devotional service which is highly advanced. But I must tell you one thing, please, my dear friends. To do Madhukari in Vrindavan is a complete nectar. You go from house to house and they say, Jai Radhe, 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 I'm a sannyasi, Radhe, Radhe. Oh, so beautiful deities you have, Radhe, Radhe. Okay, Maharaj, please take a chapati, little dal, so you can also survive. Okay, Radhe, Radhe, Mahaprasad, Radhe, Radhe. But to go out on Sankirtan in Berlin in the cold winter and begging people to buy a book of Srila Prabhupada, this is 100 times more serious and committed than Madhukari in Vrindavan. Prabhupada, he put us into a position of doing very wonderful service, and only one single book you may ever have sold on Sankirtan. That is already like a very great accomplishment. So please do not think, when I put this Madhukari up there, it's not that I want you all to just go out and beg for chapatis now. This the people. But on behalf of the temple, the other day we were in Prague, and what was our pleasure? You know, we were installing deities there, and not so much money was there either. So I said one devotee, please go and beg some flowers. And he went out. Somebody of you went with him here? You went with him?
Her.
Huh?
With her.
Malati and Hanuman, no?
Krishna Kirtan.
Krishna Kirtan went. You also went? Huh? So in a short time they came back and they brought so many flowers we could not believe, all wonderful roses for the big festival. We said, Krishna, you see, now if they would not have gone out to beg flowers, the flower salesman would not have had the chance to be part of this installation. So devotees, they beg food, they beg flowers. Now we are going to finish our ashram in Meewegen, so we have to beg construction materials. Our devotees have to get a list. Halada is going to make a list, and we're going to go and beg so that we don't have to spend so much of Krishna's Lakshmi, and then we can make this place. Rasamoy is going to oversee the work. He has committed himself to help finish this project. So, great. Now let's work hard and beg. When I begged for materials for the temple in Bogota, we had absolutely no money, and I went personally to different offices of construction companies, and we gave them some incentive. This is another thing here. What are the incentives? Here, devotional art is an incentive, or conscious art. There is a certain element of bartering. You can sometimes get somebody inspired. Like I can imagine Rasamoy going to the different suppliers of materials, even in the area of Meewegen, giving them a drawing saying, I'm making an ashram here. Can you give me, I'm an artist, I don't have money, can you give me some construction materials, you know? Then the people in Pasewalk, they would never believe it. Nobody has done that so far. An artist coming saying, I'm establishing an artistic ashram. So in other words, I tell you, I have done these things. They are sweet. They are wonderful. Usually you get more than you need. So therefore we have to be very careful, because you know, in order to collect the things we need and not have a whole bunch of stuff sitting there later we don't need, no? Because the storage problems. So, but incentives, you have to have books, okis, CDs. Harikata Ashram provides so many good things. I mean, you can spend all day with Harikata Ashram just looking and listening all the things they have. And they are complaining, Harikata Ashram is complaining, why the devotees do not move all the things we have. And I think it's a very justified complaint. We have to have some connection and have to provide to the people. So incentives, in order to beg somebody, you can, one of the incentives is okis. And today, by Rasa Moy's grace, we got the next generation called Smokies. Because he made some okis for people to stop smoking. And he said, I have some smokies for you. I said, okay. So all the okis for preaching against smoking, they'll be called the Smokies. So, book, music, and of course, one of the incentives for people is Mahaprasadam. Now, this is one thing we should still work out, and this is something Govinda has to introduce with all of you. We have to have little bags. I was now in Prague, and Jati Maharaj had worked out some little fried little things. I don't know if you saw them in little bags. We should have something like this, and as a tradition, give Mahaprasad and ask for a temple, for a donation for the temple. That there's always a little incentive connected with this. So this is something. Now you cannot tell me, with all the devotees in Berlin, you cannot find nobody who's making some Mahaprasadam for the deity. I don't believe it. If that would be the truth, it's simply you're not inspiring anybody. It's necessary, and you can ask even the recipe from Yati Maharaj, so you can make these little packages of some fried bread or something, taste snacks, what you call them. But you make one particular snack which will become famous. I think Antadrip is doing that in the form of laddus, isn't it?
He's doing also something salty now for the...
Oh, he's also doing something salty. So in a way, Antadrip has already fulfilled that gap. So we should just have it always, quantity, providing, and it should have every bag of prasada must have an oki inside with a little explanation. What is this? So that the people become aware. Oh, let me have some Mahaprasadam of their lordships. As a matter of fact, when a new batch comes, you offer the whole batch here to the deity, so that it's beyond the shadow of a doubt. This is Mahaprasadam. Anyhow, these are the incentives. Of course,